Question for Adam. Adam, as you know, I spent 10 months, 290 days in prison. Can you give me a favor? Can I land it tonight?
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be honest, I think you got to work your way up.
Hey, yo, Vitaly, didn't you just get baptized?
Bruh.
It's your boy Mosa from the Homies Hub. You guys already know what it is. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe, comment on the video. Man, let's try to grow this channel. A lot of you guys are watching but not subscribing, so hit the subscribe button. You already know that we have the Homies app out now, still in its beta phase, but you can sign up for free right now. And if you would like to become a bug tester, I will be giving out up to 3 months of membership. If you guys enjoy content like this, $ Homies Hub, and make sure you guys join the Discord, link in the description. Let's get it. So Vitaly's free and he's already back to his BS.
Can I land it tonight?
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
So after being deported from the Philippines to Russia, Vitaly quickly made his way back to the States, where he is currently in Miami to try to gain back some traction in which he's lost. And honestly, he's already crashing out.
Should I take out my now?
Adam, Jason.
Bro, you got a bed right here.
Yeah,
Layla, come to daddy.
Just bring in Adam, Jason.
It seems Vitaly hasn't learned his lesson, and I don't think he's ever going to learn his lesson. If you go back to some of his oldest videos, he's always been this prankster, outlandish, doesn't really care about the discomfort that he causes other people. Now, what's pretty interesting is that when he was being interviewed by Aiden Ross on stream, he basically had come out and said that they had allowed him to have a phone in there, or at least he bribed his way to getting a phone, saying basically that he can corrupt anybody in the Philippines with money. So he said that he documented the entire experience of the interior of the Philippines prison, and that he would basically be exposing the Philippines for the harsh living conditions and the reasons in which they arrest people, citing things like certain people having visa violations that have been in that same prison for years, simply because they are not fortunate enough to afford a lawyer. Now, I think it's interesting because in one sense, he could actually be exposing things for the greater good. In another sense, I think he just dilutes a lot of the good work he does because of how outlandish he is, his abrasiveness, and I just think he's not really ready to read the room. I mean, brother, you just came out of prison, for being a goofball inside of the Philippines. I don't think anyone is really going to take you that serious. However, with 10 million YouTube subs and an entire community ready to hear what he has to say, I think it's safe to say that he's really just doing his media rounds right now to try to become more relevant again in the space and basically try to get to the money. Now, he does shoot his shot at Lena, and by asking Adam if he could basically smash his wife.
Hi. I knew you were gonna
next to daddy.
I knew you were gonna ask that question too.
Oh, my God. What is this?
Don't sit next to him.
I got my
Here,
accuracy.
you sit Adam on the lap. Jason, you sit on the black chair.
Where am I supposed to sit?
Sit on Adam's lap.
Don't sit next to him. This guy's a pervert.
Where am I gonna go?
He's got all that Philippines tongue story.
Holy chat, what is this?
And Adam kind of just looks like he's just a little bit disgusted by him and says he still needs to work his way up the ranks. Now, when it comes to Adam, as shameless as he can be, it does seem to me that he's measuring Vitaly based on just, what it is that he went through, and kind of just him, kind of being desperate to have to make his name relevant again when it comes to content creation, since he has been gone for so long. There really hasn't been any press about his content nor his contributions, only the fact that he's been locked up in a Filipino prison. Now, another thing that could be talked about that Vitaly does have extremely powerful ability to do is expose the conditions of the Filipino government, right? And that the Filipino government is trying to do, which is trying to paint better press on their country. They might have actually shot themselves in the foot by jailing Vitaly for so long, especially since he was able to get a phone in there. So he might turn this into a huge documentary. This might be something extremely huge and might be absolutely terrible for the Filipino government, especially when we start breaking down why he was locked up and things like that, right? Which he does highlight.
What exactly did you do?
I got charged with 3 charges of disturbing the peace. 1 theft for the fan. They charged me with that, walking the fan.
What did you do?
I took an industrial fan from the restaurant and I walked it 15 feet away from the restaurant.
Again, you made a mistake. Look, I'll be real.
But bro, they charged me with disturbing the peace.
Fine.
Ready? It's for each count. It's 30 days, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? It wasn't enough for them. You know what they hit me after with?
What?
Cybercrime, because I filmed it 6 months.
And he basically talks about he was locked up for disturbing the peace and making YouTube content. And then basically now, because he was uploading the content, they were able to book him. So they basically were trying to find some reason to punish him, to set an example. This could be really bad for the Philippines in terms of tourism, which we do know that tourism does play a huge part in their economy. But now, is it actually worth it if people are in prison or being in prison for doing simple things like filming videos, right? Or even getting deported for filming videos. Now, this is the latest news on the Filipino government and things like that as to how they are treating YouTubers and how they are treating foreigners. And there's upon that, there's other scandals that I've heard as to how they treat foreigners, which, you guys should definitely be careful if you are going to the Philippines. I was recently hearing about a scam, about the adultery scam, in which you enter into a relationship with a woman or you sleep with a woman who has a husband. And due to that, the woman basically sets you up to sleep with her even though she has a husband, and the Filipino law requires that you pay restitution to the husband for committing adultery with his wife, or you will be sitting in prison. And a lot of the time these people get a large payout. The cops are in on it, and it's almost like the law is kind of set up in that way for people to take advantage of foreigners. So I just say, you guys be careful. Some people might have mixed feelings, saying that Vitaly deserved to be locked up, or some people feel like it was super excessive and it wasn't absolutely necessary. I think most of us kind of fall in the middle where, he was going to a country which he basically didn't really care about their ways of life. And he kind of just felt entitled to getting his content off, and that actually worked against him. So you were kind of like, hey man, you should have played it more safe. You're not in the US. You really only get that freedom to do that in the US because you can't do that stuff in Russia. So it's just interesting to see, but I definitely would like to know you guys' commentary. How do you guys feel? Do you like Vitaly? Do you think that him possibly putting out a documentary would be groundbreaking, in terms of him spending so much time inside of the Filipino prison? I think he can drop it himself, but he might end up getting a deal just because he was able to get his phone in there. So, him being locked up for 9 months, he must have a lot of footage that he's ready to just absolutely oust. And I think he's just doing what he can to get his name back in circulation before he drops this. So it's pretty intelligent. It's smart. Let's see how this plays out for him. And it's your boy Mosa. Like, subscribe. Let's get it.